True performance starts within. Your mind is your most powerful asset, so why settle for anything less than clarity? Defeat brain fog, sharpen your focus, and unlock peak performance with Nectar Gold. Formulated with premium ingredients, tailored for high-performing men. Maximize your potential. Live in clarity. This is Nectar Gold.
Hello and welcome to the Rich as Fuck podcast, the show where we talk about money, life, investing, and all things yachting. Today I have the privilege of sitting down with Andrea from Yachting. Good morning and thank you for coming to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you, especially after such a huge athletic milestone that you achieved during the last few weeks. I don't know how you're keeping it together today in a way, but I'm thankful we could make this work.
Yeah, thank you. It was quite a humbling mission, and it was cool to be part of something a bit bigger than ourselves. And yeah, it's just nice mix up from being stuck on a yacht all the time, you know?
Well, I haven't been stuck on a yacht in a very long time, so I can't really relate anymore. That it would be nice to. I'm stuck inside working remotely, so grass is
I
always
get.
greener.
And you're in Los Angeles, correct?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, and the people that know the area, I'm really in Marina del Rey because after I moved here, I found out that it's Los Angeles is one of the cities, and Marina del Rey and Venice and Santa Monica are other ones. So for the ones that know, it's Marina del Rey. Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, I just moved to the West Coast myself and looking forward to that. A bit further removed from the yachting scene, but it seems to be there's enough going on here. Plus, we have Zoom and the internet, so we should be fine. So I want to get back to what we just touched on. So you said you haven't been on a yacht in a while. For those that aren't familiar with you, tell us a bit about your background, where you're from, when did you work on yachts, etc.
Yeah, actually, I haven't spoken about that for a very long time. So for those tuning in and don't know me, Andrea Tagliaferro, I am the founder of Yachting. Yachting is a platform that celebrates women through empowerment. We create events online and in-person events to further expand women's reach digitally and in person by creating events that will help them grow professionally, help them network, and gain more visibility. It came from a need that I didn't see enough women on forums or on podcasts or being interviewed or in magazines and print. So I actually thought in the beginning that they didn't exist or those jobs roles hadn't been filled. And when I found that there were actually so many extraordinary women, I thought it would be a great way to have a platform, Yachting, that would actually find these women and create a digital stage so you could also meet them while I was also discovering them as well. So that has grown from an Instagram account to a website, a podcast, the awards, the events, and so on. So it's been a pretty cool, crazy journey. A lot of people tell me, how am I doing Yachting? Like, what relationship do I have in yachting? Because if they see I'm do half the time on Yachting and half is a fractional CMO at a tech startup. So basically marketing. But I was actually through very little in my life back in 2013, learned about it randomly. A friend of mine, while I was playing rugby back in the day, worked as a crew on yachts. And then the more she spoke, the more my mind can like bursting, like, what does it even mean? You provision full time? This is a full-time job. Like everything she said about being a crew on board and that life just was fascinating. And this happens, of course, to everyone that says they work in the yachting industry. I got a job at a boat show and then they liked me as a stew. And I just got really lucky that I got a foot in the door because I was the first one to answer the ad. I just woke up really early. And secondly, I was bilingual and they needed someone that spoke Spanish at the Miami boat show. Honestly, that's all I knew. I didn't know what a fender was called a fender in English. I knew that you had to take off your shoes. That was the extent of my knowledge in the maritime, not even yachting, in maritime as a whole. So fast learner, love like growing and learning. So, and then I got lucky that a lot of people were willing to teach me. So that gave me enough of a CV that then I could get little day work here and there while at the same time I was working as an architect. So Some advice already, I would say never burn bridges. I think I've gone where I've gone now because I just hold my tongue and then don't say what's like bursting emotionally that you want to tell the other person, because the yachting industry is extremely small and you have no idea the person you're talking to right now could be a green person. Then flash forward 5 years, they're a captain and you actually meet them. So just be kind to everybody. And that's how that happened. I had a romantic relationship with a captain, did not end well, but
Oh,
do not burn bridges. Like seriously, next time he was in town, we cut up. He told me about this massive refit he was doing at Directors at Dania shipyard. He knew I was an architect. They needed a designer. I got pitched. Like I was introduced to the design team and I got hired. So it wasn't as easy as that, but it was. I already had the knowledge as a day work. I did have a master's in my field. So it was like the pieces aligned, but the way that the door got open was because I kept that connection going. So networking has always been like a huge key for me to continue to advance. I got into yacht design, built that yacht for 3 years. The environment wasn't ideal for a woman in construction and pivoted to digital marketing. And that's how I got the ball rolling for Yacht Farm. So yeah.
that's crazy. There's a lot to unpack there because firstly, where did you grow up?
Venice, whenever I
Venezuela.
do something wrong, it's the second language. So
It's fine. For some reason, the name sounded a lot more Italian than Venezuelan.
yes. I continue to disappoint people at every boat show I go to. They see the Tagliaferro last name and they get all excited, especially Italians. They start speaking to me in Italian. I'm like, I'm sorry, Spanish or English?
Yeah. They're like, que cazzo.
But I do get invited to all the Italian meals, so I get to eat really well because I'm Tagliaferro.
So you grew up in Venezuela. I'm assuming you did architecture there, or did you study in the US?
So I studied architecture in Venezuela and I came to the States only to do my master's. But when I was finishing my master's, things just continued to go in a spiral that, kept just imploding back in Venezuela. And
Yeah.
I was at that moment of transitioning between, I didn't own anything. I was sort of starting my professional life. So I didn't have any ties. So I could make the switch to, you know what, let's do this in another country. I just got a degree from the US saying that I am a professional here. So let's make it work. So that's how I ended up staying here. I never planned to immigrate to the United States. I love my country a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're in similar boats there because we both come from beautiful places that are, in a way, imploding. Venezuela is a very interesting case study in finance because of the complete lack of fiscal responsibility and the fact that they printed so much money that hyperinflation just ran away. I don't think I'm exaggerating if I'm saying people are like paying hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan, what do they have, peso? Yeah, for basic needs, for basic bread and buying milk and things like that.
So it's so bad. When I lived there, inflation, like if you compare it to what it is in the States or any other country, our inflation would be over 200% a year. 200%. So the people that actually would leave the country like me and would go and visit, we would have to muster friends. I was like, how much is the value now? Like, what do I have to bring? And then it became so bad that they rolled back our currency by taking away 3 zeros. So
Oh, wow.
instead of things being 1,000, now they were one again, just because it was just getting up there of like you're saying a hamburger is 1 million.
Yes.
It was so devalued in that sense. So yeah, it's pretty crazy when it comes to, and we used to be doing so well. Venezuelans would travel and would just be able to, like how Americans travel to Europe or to other, third world countries and basically travel like kings. That's
Yeah.
how an used to vacation. That's still not the case anymore. There's very little possibility for growth there. You have to know someone, you have to be in the right family to get this passed down to you so you can continue to grow and build for your own family. So it's limiting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic and heartbreaking because I think both of us I feel the same way. I'd in an ideal world love to be at home now and just be around the people and speak my home language. And but that's not an option. It's like, and until things get considerably better, we just have to make do. And luckily, the United States, as well as other countries, provide really good opportunity, and we just got to grab it. To get back on your career path, which I find super fascinating, architecture into steering and then getting on a build. I think there's a lot of people that work a lot of years to get involved in a project like that. And you got that pretty early on, and it ended up being a 3-year build. How did you find that in a very man's world and a male dominated build industry? How did you mitigate those challenges?
For all the women listening here, we all know that there's certain roles that we have to play. I am constantly at events making sure that it's not only the branding that you see from me, but I'm constantly making sure that everyone feels good about themselves. When I was at that shipyard, I had so many egos. People say like, oh, when you're on a boat, it's, the hierarchy is so strong. But when you're in this refit, that wasn't, we're not talking about a shipyard like Ethan, Tancoa, like whether you have like hundreds of employees there. You had the head of communications, the head of the naval architect. So you had people who were used to being chiefs in this trailer and in the shipyard. So everyone felt like your boss. I felt like I had 10 bosses. So everyone needed to feel good about themselves. No one could step on anyone's toes. And after I like navigated that political nightmare, then I got to do my job. So it was very taxing when it comes to like office politics and relationships there. So, and still hard to get in. Really, the only reason, and I still see this today, is knowing the right people and nurturing those relationships. In that case, yeah, I got to meet them by chance. I was a day worker still on the boat that he was taking over, that captain. But to this date, I do most of my networking on social media, reaching out to people like you and DMs. And if someone answers, just continue to build. I usually, when I connect with someone on LinkedIn, immediately I send them a calendar link so we can jump on a call for 15 minutes to solidify that relationship and continue moving on. And then always starting with a mindset of like, how can I help you? Exactly how you actually got me to the call. It's like, how can we talk about Yachting? How can we help? And it's like that mentality has really continued to open doors. So that's really how I got there. And of course there's luck, because now I hear from crew trying to get on yachts. I never did STCW. Like I didn't do any of these certifications that people are killing themselves to do.
Yeah.
Got lucky. Learning being bilingual or trilingual really helps in an industry that is so international.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. And I commend you on the communication part that you mentioned now, and always looking to collaborate. I've often found, since I've started the Yachting Investor, which has been about 6 months now, I've been pleasantly surprised how many people I communicate with are looking to collaborate and have like an abundance and a sharing mindset compared to just everything is mine. It's really nice and refreshing to see, because like you said, small industry, if it starts being public knowledge that you aren't someone trying to add value and you're just taking, you're not going to do very well. So I think it's very important for us to check ourselves and be like, hey, how can I help? How can I get Andrea on here talking about what she's interested in doing and getting the word out? Because who knows, there might be even just one person listening to this podcast that's like, I've always had this idea of finding empowerment via female channels. And now I've met the person and she reaches out to you, and there we go. We scratch each other's backs. So
Exactly. I mean, I actually worked after I built Yachting. I used it as my portfolio to get into a prestigious media agency in New York called VaynerMedia. So I got to work for the ones that are in digital marketing for Gary Vee.
no way.
So I was marketing director at his speaking bureau. So I'm extremely lucky to still be connected to the people that I met there. And the office culture there is collaboration. There are no offices. I'm kidding. There's some few offices that you get to book to host your own meeting. And even Gary's office is open for when he's not there and other people just sit in his desk and just work. So that mentality of like loose barriers and everyone's here to grow and help each other, I would be sitting my desk next to another CEO or a creative director, and I would literally just flip my screen and ask them about something to do on Photoshop or Adobe Premiere. So I had these very elite resources just around me. So you would just be walking and just gaining from collaborating. And then you still see that. So I just spoke recently to David Rock, D-Rock, as many know him. He actually started the video blogs, the daily video blogs for Gary. And you'll see his posts, they're all about how can I help you? And honestly, it's not an advertising campaign. He actually jumps on a call and says, how is this beneficial to you? We got 2 more minutes. So it does help. It does carry on.
That's an incredible gig to have landed. And I think a lot of people with entrepreneurial spirit and ideas go to people like Gary Vee. So to be directly immersed in that culture, I think is very beneficial and kind of a little bit jealous.
Actually, I've got to tell it to a few people that were in media here in the NUMS that there's David from the Yacht Sales, the Yacht blog. God, he's going to kill me. Yacht for Sales. And then Bonnie now was in Air Media, and it was like, yeah, you get to meet Gary if you come to the office. So it's like, it's definitely a nice thing to be able to do. I did get to record one of my podcasts in person there. Most of my podcasts are on Zoom, but because I was living in New York, someone was going to a boat show. So they landed in New York and I got to take them to the office. So I got to show them around at this office. It's like 800 people there. Get to like, get blown away by like the people that I was introducing. And I wanted, like, this is someone I wanted to impress, and I was impressing them with the office, and they weren't even in marketing. And the person doing the sound for me that day was the person that did the sound for Gary. So it was like really cool.
That's a professional setup. Even it makes the Zoom setup feel like a bit of a cowboy setup.
I do Zoom, so, and
Yeah.
I think it works great.
It does the job.
Yeah. So digital marketing, I came back to yachting only last year. I kept the podcast going because it's only doing so remotely. But a lot of people ask me like that I went away. I went away for a full year from yachting from the pandemic, and it was really hard to find women. And then I would find women and to be interviewing on my podcast, and then I would have no shows because they would be afraid to speak this was in their main language, like they were Italian or French or anywhere in Europe or whatever. Or second, they were too afraid to be recorded. Or then the last one that flaked on me the day of, like minutes before we actually started recording, was I didn't know this was video. My face is not ready for video. I don't want to be representing my brand. Like it was the amount of pressure all these women felt. And I found out that all of them, like seriously, all of them, especially at the highest level, they had such imposter syndrome. They did not feel worthy to be on my podcast, which was beyond ridiculous to me. I'm there giddy, barely getting the word out because I have a crush on all these women. I was like, these are really elite women that I get to talk to just because I created a digital space, right? And they are actually nervous on the other side because they don't think they deserve to be heard, which again, it just full circles how crazy that all is. But
That is crazy.
I podcast for a year because I couldn't find people, and it was so demotivating finally finding someone and then they flaking out on you. And then a year later, I was still working in tech. I stopped working full time, and one of the people that I had interviewed tells me that it sparked her career with there's a brand awareness campaign that is the podcast episodes. So I worked for her as she was my client, went to the Palm Beach show last year, and people, when I was walking the dogs, they started hugging me. Are you back? Is Yacht Farm back? I had no idea Yacht Farm meant anything really because my numbers were always so low. You still go to my Instagram. I don't even have 4,000 followers on it. But the thing is, the ones that were following, they were actually listening. And I
Very
didn't.
engaged.
So
Yes.
it was such small metrics that you just never felt that you were actually making a dent. It just felt like a nice hobby that I selfishly took on. And then I was like bringing people on just to have a casual conversation. So never underestimate how your hard work is received. people will take inspiration from it. And if you're consistent and continue the hustle, you will make it. You will definitely break barriers.
That's such awesome advice. And that's something I struggle with, the whole imposter syndrome thing, the looking at metrics, the kind of comparison is the thief of joy. You know, you see the other person getting 50,000 views on YouTube and your podcast gets, but like you said, it's more about the quality than the quantity. If I would much rather have 1,000 people that is seriously engaged than 1% of the 50,000 kind of listening to it while they're doing something else. It's really inspiring and motivating. And I'm glad that you've been able to enable a lot of women via your platform to kind of get out there, to break through the imposter syndrome and be like, hey, I'm building something cool and you guys got to listen to me. So yeah, proud of you on that. That's good work.
You got to listen because I have the microphone. That's all. Actually, this year added a new product. Last year, we added the in-person and the online events, the online forums that focus on specific topics that are trending in the yachting industry. The difference from my online forums from other ones is all the panels, the expert panelists, and the moderators are all female. That's the only thing. It's a female voice telling you about the future of yachting and nothing else. And then we did the awards. It was my dreams. Actually, after I created the awards in Amsterdam, Women's Yachting Awards, I felt, what do we do now? Like, I already achieved what I always wanted to do. And at the end of the year, I thought, well, I have some community that comes to me because they find me. What if we created a membership? So in February, I created a WhatsApp group in December, and people kept reaching out how much they loved it. And they actually asked for a membership. So I created the membership thinking maybe 10 will sign up. So I have a metric on my fridge of like the goal of the year. We have surpassed it by like 200% already.
Wow.
And my partner keeps saying, he was like, you just put a really low bar for yourself. And I was like, I didn't think anyone would sign up. Like, honestly, but they continue to make business, like financial growth from this membership. So it actually not just benefiting them emotionally, it is actually expanding their growth professional and financial growth. So it's been really amazing to see. We had a Zoom call yesterday, and during the call, they already were, someone was moving to another office, like from Florida to Thailand, and they were already getting introductions and offices for them to actually tap into networks when they landed. So it was really cool to see.
It's helpful. The power of community is really special. And on that topic, for people that want to learn more about this membership, like what does that entail exactly? What do you provide? How much does it cost?
So I have an annual membership that you can find on the website. To sign up to be approved, you have to be someone that works in the yachting industry. You can be crew or you can be land-based. It doesn't matter. It's open to all of you. And then you get, or like, you get offer like 5 benefits, but really you get a lot more that it's in the behind the scenes. For the main benefits is we do these in-person events and we are always sold out. FGI was sold out, Monaco, you name it, it was, thank God. And then this will give you priority access to it. You learn about the events first and you move in from the wait list into the events if you're actually a member. Another one is expanding exposure. I get this opportunity. Now I have a platform where I can get podcasts or moderators and stuff like that. So now instead of just not knowing how to decide who gets the microphone or the spotlight, I created this system where the benefits always go to the members. If there's a moderating opportunity, you get asked first. If no one goes in, then it trickles into whoever is also in the women yachting, and then obviously they get a stage. You don't have to be a member to be part and and reap the benefits of Yacht Femme, but because there are now so many, they want to go into these positions. Like if there's a blog post, first it goes into whoever's in that network. The other ones are, let me think right now, because those are we have a private community, and that's the one that actually people really want to get into. So like the priority access and private community are the biggest thing. And we have an active WhatsApp group. We did the Zoom call yesterday. So it's a way for you to stay connected in between the shows in a structured way. A lot of there's a lot of WhatsApp groups, a lot of Facebook groups, but I'm constantly thinking of many small events to make sure that you are all not only connecting, but other people know who you are. So if you weren't bold enough to ask for that connection, I'm actually making sure to introduce you. And if people were at the FGI event breakfast at Palm Beach, I kept seeing who was a fly on the wall, grabbing them and moving them into someone else. Did you meet her? Did you meet her? So it's like,
Yeah.
and last but not least is you get a discount if you actually want to promote your brand at any of our events. The way that we continue to lower the barrier for women is that they're all free and they're all public. So if they get paid by sponsorships. So if you want to be one of those sponsors and get highlighted in the many ways that we actually highlight sponsors, you get a discount on across the board on all of them, all the way to the awards. If you wanted to be the one that actually gave the award on the MedStreet stage, you have access to it at a discount. So those are the main benefits that you actually receive. But already financially, because I always think like if you pay $150, how is this tangible? Where are the metrics of like, did I get value back? Well, if you went to the breakfast at Palm Beach, we had a professional photographer taking headshots of the women that cost you over $150, and they were free for you there. So you're already getting money back there. If you were doing a partnership with Lauderdale Diver in Fort Lauderdale in July, so if you wanted to get your scuba certification, you're getting a discount there. So this is definitely money that we're getting back to you through our partnerships as well. So it's not just pay me and I leave and I ghost you. You are constantly getting emotional, intangible, and tangible money back for your investment. So yeah,
That's awesome. That's a very good model on giving people value instead of just direct trading in services. It seems like a very ongoing value add that you provide to people, and a good idea because I'm kind of in that limbo phase at the moment where, at some point this needs to be monetized because it's a lot of time. I do weekly newsletters, which takes a lot of time in writing, and I deal with about 50 to 60 clients per week, and these clients are not paying anything. So at some point that will need to be addressed and kind of restructured. And this is a very good idea to do that because you're not breaking the bank, you're not charging thousands of dollars and hindering people from entering. So it's not mega exclusive in that sense, but the people still get tangible benefits from it. So thank you. I can learn from that for sure.
with your newsletter, you should have logos at the bottom that are clickable logos there. So you get sponsors that are benefiting from your very active and engaged listeners. For your consultings, I would definitely have a paid strip payment link to people wanting to have 30 minutes with you from 15 minutes for free. You always want to help, and I can definitely see that. But if someone takes more than 15 and it takes like a 30 or 60 minutes, that's really taking time away from you. And people actually want to pay for your advice. So actually make it easy for people to set up a time and pay you for your time. So
Yes.
yeah. And then you should have ads on the podcast. So you have
I know that's something we'll get to. Give me 1 sec, Andrea. I'll be right with you.
okay.
Yeah, it's kind of, to be honest, at the moment I'm enjoying it so much, and it's nice. I've reached a point in my yachting career where I'm kind of on a crossroad, knowing that I don't necessarily want to become a captain, and I've always been very entrepreneurial, and I now found my little niche that I really want to tap into. So for me at the moment, I'm getting paid purely from enjoyment. I get podcast sponsors, which that is the only way I'm making some form of money, which is cool. And I mean, at the end of the day, it is business, but I really want to carry on the momentum and building a big base and a big trust system where people can be like, oh, okay, he's genuinely doing this out of the goodness of his heart and having passion for the topic. And then when it does come time where I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump into this full time as a business, then at least there's credibility behind.
I completely understand that train of thought because I thought about that when I launched my membership in February. The membership's only been live since then.
Okay.
So for all this time when I did the podcast, I didn't even have podcast ads. So it was completely a hobby that I wanted to do. And it didn't bother me because I had a full-time job and I was getting my revenue from them. So it was, just something I really enjoyed. But it was hard to like ask for memberships. But when I understood that unlocking that membership meant that now I had cash flow to actually inject more value, that's when for me it was like, okay, this is acceptable to my standards to be asking for money because now I can give more back. So that's how it felt. But I completely understand from people from being able to continue to trust you that you're doing it for the right reason and so on. It's definitely hard. And sometimes you have to wait until people really trust you. And sometimes people don't really care. That's what I have found. If you partner with people that make sense to the concept, to the messaging of what you're doing, it should be like an added value that you're actually bringing someone that, oh, they should know as well. And they just end up
Yes.
sponsor. But I don't want to like continue on this tangent. People.
No, this is awesome. I'm really enjoying this chat to you, and it's refreshing to see like new business ideas and also tackling something that is we are in a man dominated business world. Like it's changing, it's getting better. Definitely in the past 5, 6 years since I started yachting, I can already see a visible sea change in entrepreneurs coming from the female domicile. And it's really nice that there's a platform. A lot of the devil's advocate side, okay, the old school, unmodern men we'd be like, oh, well, if we create a male only exclusive club, then we would be in trouble. We're like, dude, sit down. Like, the odds are already tilted in our favor. Like, we don't need to have exclusive male entrepreneurial clubs because that is what the business world is like already. So I back you. I really do. And I'm glad that someone took the leap and curating an environment where women can feel that they can empower each other. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I think something I hadn't seen because many times you're creating something working remotely from your little, like almost like in a closet. It feels like now I have another partner that's ChatGPT, at least like now I have a sounding board. But before all these ventures and projects were more like, I think this should exist. But who knows if I was right? I wasn't doing enough market research to validate that assumption that we should have an online forum. People would like it. What if people didn't like it? What if people didn't like the podcast and so on? But again, it was my time. I knew how to do it. So we just, throwing spaghetti to the wall and then people happened to actually enjoy it. But if you take away the woman versus men, I have taught a lot of people digital marketing free sessions from what software, and this is one of the questions that I think you should ask yourself the most before you start with your branding, your website, and anything. It's like, what software are you investing? If you're at what stage, or if your business goals are this, then which ones? Because then you're locked into these annual fees, or even sometimes 2 contracts for 2 years because you found a good deal or whatever. Now you're trapped into something that's not giving you, it's actually holding you back in operation if you don't survive for the next 2 years. So tech stacks and how to integrate those softwares, it's my bread and butter there. And that's what I really help people. And others tell me, it's like, why are you giving your secrets away? Everything I'm saying is on Google. Like, I'm not making this up. And secondly, is I feel I have the trust that I'll keep growing and learning. So I shouldn't be intimidated to uplift someone else because I feel it all comes around and it actually does. So if today I tell you, you know what, don't invest in all those, just go to later to do your social media because it actually is for free. And until you reach a certain point, never pay for it. So those little things that like someone else tells you, that's when constantly people tell me, just shut up, stop giving away your knowledge. It's not about men versus women. It's about knowing that if you keep growing, you should never be intimidated of the person that's behind you. just never stay stagnant. If you're someone that just wants to stay in your comfort zone, yeah, you definitely have to put barriers really high because we're coming for you. With the knowledge that's out there for free, we're definitely coming for your job. You either are working with us or we're just going to go around you. We're not even going to take you. We're just going to go around you, create our own venture, and just leave you in the dust. So
that's a perfect note for us to wrap this up. Thank you for that, finishing off on that strong point. And you're right. If we don't stay relevant with all these new tools, people are going to be running laps around us. And before we say goodbye to our listeners, please let us know how they can get in touch with you. I am fairly certain you and I will do this again in the future, but let us know what your website is, your pages, and I'll be sure to add that in the show notes.
Thank you so much. I think I get carried away because this is such an easy, fun conversation. So I apologize for that. You can find me basically on all social media under Yachting, which is Yacht FEMNE, and Yacht Dame. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. We're on all of them. And if you go to our podcast as well, you can find them on all like our distribution wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in Yachting. My preferred platform is actually Spotify, but you do you. That's it. You can reach me, DM me, whatever. I may take a while, especially at boat shows, but I will get back to you.
That's awesome. And yeah, hopefully one day I can be the first male appearance on the Yacht podcast. I'm joking. I know you have your system going, but I am very happy that we got to talk today. And I'm sure that many of my listeners will be tuning into you. So thanks for that.